case you haven't heard the news this week, it looks like God is pissed. But it's a good news, bad news kind of thing. The bad news is the wrath of God is taking the form of volcanoes, cyclones, and earthquakes. The good news? Apparently God is just mad at third world countries. So if you're the head of a military dictatorship, or even worse, a junta, start looking for high ground. In America, on the other hand, it looks like we're sitting pretty. Unless, of course, you're one of the people who live in Tornado Alley or in a place that floods a lot. In that case, God doesn't punish the poor or the wicked, just those dumb enough to live in Tornado Alley or a place that floods a lot. I like to call these people sister fuckers. Now, I have been criticized in the past for focusing on the negative and not telling viewers about what they can do to help. So this week, I'd like to let everyone out there know how they can lend a hand. Now, all of us are going to have to make sacrifices. I'm not talking about drinking less water or making fewer trips to the gas pump. I mean that people are going to have to go back to good old-fashioned, roll up your sleeves and get to work human sacrifice. Did one person in Chile even bother to throw themselves into the mouth of that Chayton volcano? Probably not. Would it have worked? Honestly, yes, it probably would have worked. I'm not suggesting we start throwing babies into craters to appease the gods, and I certainly don't want to throw away perfectly good virgins on an altar. They are getting harder and harder to come by as it is. I'm just saying that there are a shitload of people who have nowhere to live and a bunch of volcanoes that are just waiting for thousands and thousands of people to jam themselves into. That solves so many problems. We'd have fewer people who are starving, without homes, or at the mercy of other catastrophes because they'd be in the volcanoes. Of course, the liberals will have a fit and tell us that this doesn't make sense or that God isn't punishing people or that there's not any scientific data that shows how jumping into a volcano will keep it from erupting. Which means it's only a matter of time before we get hit by a comet or overrun by a race of giant, super intelligent ants that are also made of diamonds. And that, my friends, is why we're all fucked.
Whoa. Matt, isn't sacrifice kind of extreme?
JR, think of it this way. This might be the only way to get Americans to support outsourcing, especially for outsourcing volcano sacrifice jobs. It's called economics, JR. Learn it sometime.
Thank you, Matt McLaughlin.